Hey sixth graders, this is lesson 4, day 4. In lesson 4, day 2, we looked at finding unit rate to solve different rate and ratio problems using tables and number lines. So in yesterday's lesson, day 3, we used rates and ratios to look at constant speed. Today we're going to use rates and ratios to talk about converting measurement units. So you'll notice that a lot of the strategies are going to be the same. So remember, you should have your book on page 32 right now. If it's not, pause the video and go get it. Second, I'm going to give you directions throughout the video to pause and do problems. Make sure you do that. Third, make sure that you make all corrections after you're done and don't skip any problems. All right, so let's get started. On page 32, I'm going to guide you through the two models below to help you solve a problem. When we get to the next page, you're going to be solving some problems on your own. So, follow along with me here. It says, Tony is pouring milk for students' lunches. She knows that 3 quarts of milk contain 12 cups. I'm going to underline that because that's my ratio. 3 quarts of milk contain 12 cups. 3 to 12. Okay, how many cups can she pour with 7 quarts? So that's one question we have to answer. How many quarts does she need to pour 10 cups? All right, so we're going to answer both of those questions using the ratio 3 quarts of milk to 12 cups of milk. All right, so first thing, I want you to notice here in the first model with the table, I have all the numbers whited out. In your book, all the numbers are there, but I don't want you looking at that because I think you'll learn more if you see me figuring this out. So just follow along with me here. You don't have to write anything down here as long as you're paying attention. This says you can use the unit rate to make a table. The rate is blank cups to blank quarts. The unit rate is blank. So I'm going to show you how to figure that out. So remember, it was 12 cups for 3 quarts, right? So I'm going to start by writing that. Let me see. Do I have that backwards? 12 cups. Yep, so 12 cups to 3 quarts. So here's 1 quart, 2 quarts, 3 quarts. And 3 quarts is 12 cups. So right here I have the original ratio of the problem. Now to get the rate, I have to figure out this column here. So how many cups are for 1 quart? So notice here, I'll switch to purple and zoom in a little bit, that 3 times 4 is 12, right? So that means that 1 times 4 will get us our answer of 4. So this here in blue is our rate. This here is our ratio. So the rate is 4 cups to 1 quart. The unit rate is 4. Remember, that's the number that's with the 1. All right, so now, remember, the key to solving all these problems is knowing the unit rate of 4, because you can multiply or divide all of the quarts by 4 to get your answers. So the next part says multiply each number of quarts by 4, because remember, the 4 is the unit rate, to find the corresponding number of cups. So watch how I fill this out. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I just have to multiply each of those numbers by 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 4 is 20. And also notice that going this way, the numbers are just counting by 4. So 24, 28, 32. So I have my ratio table filled in. Now, the first question I'm going to answer, remember we go back up, is how many cups can she pour with 7 quarts? So if I go down to 7 quarts, I'm going to circle in green, I'll get my answer. 7 quarts is 28 cups. So the table shows that 7 quarts is the same as 28 cups. All right, so using a ratio table, filling it out, helped me answer that first question. Now, I could use the ratio table for the second question, but I'm also going to show you how a double number line works for this one. So let's go down below. It says you can also use the unit rate to make a double number line. It's easy to see and use halfway points with a double number line. So here's what they mean. First off, notice it's the same numbers, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32 as the table above. It's just written in a number line instead of a table. So remember the other question we need to answer, and I'll get the pointer ready, is, where is it? How many quarts does she need to pour 10 cups of milk? So we're looking for 10 cups of milk. So here's what we know. Remember, cups are down here, right? So we're looking for 10. If they give us 8 and they give us 12, you know that 10 is the halfway point between the 8 and the 12. Well, what's the halfway point between 2 and 3? Well, wouldn't that be 2.5? So the answer would be you would need get 2 1/2 quarts is the same as 10 cups. Now I also want to point out that you could have done that halfway trick up here. You could easily find, let me switch to a nice, maybe I'll do orange this time. Let me make it darker, hold on. Yeah, that's better. All right, so here's 8 and 12, right? So here's the halfway point, which would be 10. Here's 2 and 3. So halfway between 2 and 3 is 2.5. So it works for the table as well. All right, so that's just going over the table and the double number line as strategies to convert units. So now we're going to go on to the next page. So here is what I want you to do. I want you, using those tables on the previous page, to do 17 through 21 on your own. Do not do 22 and 23 yet. That's later on. Now what I want you to do is pause the video as you're doing these. As soon as you're done, restart the video. If you're not sure, give it your best shot. If you're wrong, so what? You'll fix it when I go over it. Just make sure you're trying your hardest so you learn the most from it. All right, pause the video, do 17 through 21 now, and restart it as soon as you're done. Go. All right, so now we're going to start, and notice as I go over these that I have the table and the double number line there. So I'll pull those up as needed. For now, I'm going to just kind of slide them down here because I don't really need them right this second. But I'll pull them up and I'll try to use the different ones as needed. So let's go over number 17. It says, show how you can find the unit rate without using models. So remember the original ratio was 12 cups for one, or I'm sorry, not one, for 3 quarts, QT. All right, so remember that. So you may have done this differently, but I know if you divide 12 by 3, that I will get the answer. I'll get the unit rate, which is 4. And remember, 4 cups is the unit rate. There's 4 cups in 1 quart. All right, so also remember, unit rate is just the 4. If it said rate, you would have 4 cups to 1 quart, but we just want the 4 cups for that one. Now, 18 says, explain how you can use the unit rate to find the number of cups in 7 quarts. Well, remember, once you find the unit rate, 4, you could just multiply that by any number, whatever the quarts are. So for 18, I would say, once you find, I'm going to say exactly what I just said. Once you find the unit rate, just multiply by the number of quarts. I'm going to set a colon here as an example. So 7 quarts times 4 cups equals 28 cups. So there's 28 cups in 7 quarts. Okay. Now in 19, it says, explain how you can use the unit rate to find the number of quarts that is equal to 10 cups. All right, so let me scroll up here. So remember, the unit rate is 4 cups in 1 quart, right? So if I were answering this question, I would want to know 4 times what is going to get me 10 cups. And once I figure that out, I can then just figure out how many quarts it is. Now remember, you might not know 4 times what number is 10 cups. So 4 times what is 10? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the reverse. I'm going to do 10 divided by 4. And if you do 10 divided by 4, you get 2.5. So stick with me here. That means 4 times 2.5 is 10 cups. So that means 1 times 2.5 will get us our answer of 2.5 quarts. Now, that's my answer, but I have to explain that, remember? So if I show my work there, I'm just going to kind of draw a line and explain it on the right side. Hopefully I left myself enough room. So, the unit rate is 4. Explain how you can use a unit rate to find the number of quarts that is equal to 10 cups. All right, so not if. That's not a good word. Since. 4 times 2.5 equals 10. I need to multiply it one quart times 2.5 to get the answer 2.5 quarts. Now remember, that's just what I did here. Once I figured out, since 4 times 2.5 is 10, 1 times 2.5 is 2.5 quarts. So I showed my work and I have my explanation. It didn't say to show your work, so if you didn't show it, that's fine. But you need to somehow explain how you can get 2.5 quarts using the unit rate, even if yours is different from mine. Remember, you can pause at any time to make corrections. Now, number 20 says, compare the answers you computed in number 17 through 19 to the models on the previous page. Describe the result. So let me move these models down a little bit. Okay, so you can see both of them. Now let's compare them. First off, in number 17, we figured out, let me get my pointer ready, that the unit rate is 4 cups. So let's compare them with the table. The unit rate is 4 cups. The unit rate here is 4 cups. Remember, it's the number that's with the 1. Okay, so far they're the same. 18. Once you find the unit rate, just multiply it by the number of quarts. We figured out there were 28 cups in 7 quarts. There's 28 cups in 7 quarts. There's 28 cups in 7 quarts. Okay, and in 19, explain how you can use the unit rate to find the number of quarts. Now remember in this one here, I had to figure out 4 times what is 10. We figured out it was 2.5. And then we did 1 times 2.5 to get 2.5. Now we have the same answer down here, remember, but we did it a different way. Remember with the table we figured out since 10 is between 8 and 12, 2.5 is between 2 and 3. You get the same answer, but it was different without the tables. So I'm going to kind of try to summarize that, and your answer might be different, but you should have a couple sentences at least explaining what you did here. So let me move this. All right. So I'm going to say the answers for 17 through 19 were the same as the answers the table and number line. Okay. So I'm hoping you notice that your answers for 17, 18, and 19 were also the same. Just some we did with the number line, some we did without. All right, now let me move this. Oops, sorry, I'm screwing everything up. Okay, let me move this up here, and let me move this up here. All right, number 21 says, now try a different problem. Given that there are 32 ounces in 2 pounds, explain how you would find the number of ounces in 4.5 pounds. Now, here's your goal in this one, that you found the number of ounces in 4.5 pounds and you explained it. How you did it might be totally different from me. So if you get the wrong answer, then yeah, I do want you to pause it and make corrections. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to kind of show my work on the left of that line, and I'll use the right of that line to explain it. So I have 32 ounces in 2 pounds. I'm going to write that down. Maybe I'll do a table here. I'll do ounces, OZ, and pounds, LB. Okay, so I have 2 pounds here, 32 ounces here. Now, I have to figure out the number of ounces in 4.5 pounds. So, first thing I'm going to do is figure out the rate. So notice if I divide both of these by 2, by doing that, I should get 1 here and 16 here. So the rate is 16 ounces for 1 pound. Now, different things I could do. I could use the halfway point. Remember this trick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 16, 32, 48, 64, 80. So we're looking for 4.5 pounds. So let me zoom in on my table. So 4.5 is going to be right in between 4 and 5. So I just need to figure out the number right in between 64 and 80, which would be 72. So 72 is going to be the answer, 72 ounces. But let's say you didn't do the table that way. Remember, you don't need, let me get my eraser, to fill in a table if you find the unit rate. So let me go back here. The unit rate, remember, is 16 ounces. And you could multiply that by any number of pounds to find the answer. So what I'm going to do is 4.5 pounds times the unit rate of 16. And guess what I get? I get 72, just like I did in the table. So it doesn't matter how you did it. Some people like using the unit rate better, just multiplying it. Some people like making a table. I don't care. Just get the right answer. So I'm just going to explain the unit rate strategy here. So I'm going to say first, I found the unit rate of 16 ounces. Then I multiplied 16 times 4.5 to get 72 ounces in 4.5 pounds. All right, so however you got your answer, if you had 72, great. I'm just showing you how I got mine. If you had it wrong, though, I want you to pause the video and use one of the methods I show you to fix it and make sure your explanation is good. All right, but if you're good, you're caught up. Now, here's the next thing you're going to do. We have 22 and 23 to work on. So we're going to do one at a time, and you can use any strategy you want, but think of maybe doing the ratio table, or if you want to find the unit rate and then multiply. Whatever works better for you. You could do a double number line as well. So let's read the directions and get you started. Use what you just learned about measurement units to solve these problems. Show your work on a separate sheet of paper. If you could fit it on this page, that's fine as well. So we'll read 22 and we'll have you start. Gary sees on a measuring cup that 200 centiliters are the same as 2 liters. So the question says, how many liters, I'll switch to a different color here, how many liters are there in 300 centiliters? All right, so decide how you want to solve this. Pause the video, do only 22, restart it when you're done. Go. All right, so I'm going to go over 22 now. Just to be different, I'm going to do a double number line, which is a lot like a ratio table when you think of it. So we know on top is going to be centiliters, CL, and on bottom is going to be liters. So there's 200 centiliters and 2 liters. So I'm going to draw a line here, 2 liters, 200 centiliters. That means 1 liter is 100 centiliters. Now the question says how many liters are there in 300 centiliters? So 100, 200, 300, 1, 2, 3. So the answer is 3 liters. All right, if you had 3 liters, good. Maybe you did a ratio table, maybe you found the unit rate. I don't care. I did a double number line, so I'm cool like that. Only kidding. All right, number 23. I want you to do that one completely on your own. Double number line, ratio table, find the unit rate and multiply, whatever you feel like doing. Pause the video, restart it when you're done. Go. All right, let's see how you did. It says, when Gianna asks for 4 feet of ribbon, the clerk measures a 48-inch piece. How many inches long is a 9-foot piece of ribbon? All right, so for this one, I'm going to find the unit rate. So I'm going to kind of set up a little bit of a ratio table here, though, but a very small one. It's just going to be like 4 sections. So I'm going to put, I like to have the bigger number on top too, by the way. So a 4-foot piece of ribbon is 48 inches. So I'm going to put inches on top, feet on bottom. It doesn't matter if you didn't. So 48 inches is 4 feet. Now the question wants to know 9 feet. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to find the unit rate. Remember, if you just divide 48 by 4, you get the unit rate. So 48 divided by 4 is 12. So let me write the rate down first. There's 12 inches in 1 foot. Now remember, the key is the 12 inches. All right, so now the question says how many inches long is a 9-foot piece of ribbon? So I just have to take 9 and multiply it by the unit rate of 12, and I get my answer of 108. So the answer is 108 inches. All right, if you had it wrong, just fix it. Make sure you pause it and get it corrected and try to think of your mistakes. If you had it right, good. You're kicking butt. All right, anyway, you're done with me. Thanks for watching.